Hi, Mike Damergis here from Citi Field as the Colorado Rockies are in town taking on the New York Mets, and it's Jimenez against Pelfrey. A big matchup tonight, Scott.
Yeah, it is a big matchup. I mean, Ubaldo Jimenez is going for a team record for Colorado Rockies victories, for seeking his 18th at the time of us recording his video. By the time you watch it tomorrow, maybe he'll have it, maybe he won't. I don't know. I can't predict the future, but can I? I guess maybe I can. I'm a fantasy expert. But Jimenez got off to a great start. The wins haven't been coming as frequently recently, but if you get a good offer for him, you can't turn it down, as Adam Ronis of RotoExperts would say. You know, if you can trade Jimenez, do it, because maybe the best fantasy-wise is already behind him. Pelfrey, he hasn't won in a long time. There's been talk of him slowing down his delivery. That's been a problem. He's placing the ball. He's not throwing it. And Pelfrey really needs to turn things around. He has a tendency to run hot and cold. Maybe now is a good time to buy low on Mike Pelfrey if you're desperate for some pitching help in a mixed league down the stretch.
And the Mets, of course, are really struggling on all ends, on the field, at the plate. First off, let's hit on Carlos Beltran. He's been a little sluggish since coming back.
Yeah, you know, last homestand I was here, Beltran hit his first home run of the year. I thought he was going to start turning things around, but just an awful road trip for him and David Wright. Beltran, it just doesn't have it in the field. He doesn't have it at the plate. He's rusty. It's simple as not having a spring training, and everybody is so far ahead of him at this point.
And one guy who seems like a lost cause, of course, Jeff Francoeur, is just really lost. He has to check basically the lineup cards to see if he's playing every night.
Yeah, they called up Fernando Martinez. Francoeur runs hot and cold. He's streaky. He's never been a dependable fantasy player. Heck, Francoeur told us once that if you drafted him, you might have made a mistake. So he knows what he's talking about. Angel Pagan continues to hit. Pagan has been a fantasy revelation this year. But the fact that Francoeur is going to platoon with Fernando Martinez even hurts his value a lot, even in NL-only leagues.
Let's hit the Mets infield. Let's start with David Wright at third base, too, as well. He's really struggling.
Yeah, if you can make a trade for Wright while he's gone cold and he had a terrible road trip, go ahead and do it. You know, some owners might be a little bit down on Wright. I think, though, that's mostly in leagues where there's less experienced owners. When Wright gets hot, he can really do a lot for your fantasy team. It's just a matter of him, you know, settling down at the plate. Against the Phillies, he was too far off the plate, really swinging the pitches out of the zone. So it's just going to take some adjustments from Howard Johnson and watching some film.
And how about Ike Davis at first base? He's had a solid year since coming up, but he's not the kind of player that can really carry this team.
Not a kind of player to carry the team, but a complimentary player, and also a complimentary player on your fantasy team. And the kid, Josh Tolley, behind the plate, continues to hit. He has a good batting eye, and he's not intimidated by major league pitching.
Now let's go with Jason Bay, New York Mets, the left fielder, really struggling this year, suffering from concussion issues. When can they expect him back?
Nobody knows when Bay is coming back, and that's why I think the Mets called up Fernando Martinez. Jason Bay has been a disappointment all year long, unfortunately. Fantasy players were worried about the ballpark getting into his head. Well, that got into his head, and then the Dodger Stadium wall got into his head. It's just been, unfortunately, a very disappointing year for Jason Bay.
Overall, very disappointing. Of course, the Mets don't know if Jerry Manuel will finish out the season. That's got to be in their head, and it's affecting
don't know.
Reporting from Citi Field for RotoExperts.com, I'm Mike Damergis, and he's the king, Scott Engel. Catch us tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, live on XM 147, Sirius 211.